And there I was, lying on my back, eyes gazing up at the sky. There were a group of women alongside of me, all of our heads pointing to the center, like spokes on a wheel. In the center of that wheel, we had created a sacred altar of personal items. There was a woman's voice about 10 feet away, and she was guiding us through this chakra meditation and ritual. It was a cleansing. The entire scene felt so surreal. I felt myself toggling between being fully present and in the moment and completely lost in thought. Going from, I am all in, I'm taking this all in, the sounds of nature, the chill of the wind on my skin, the warmth of the sun, the support of the earth beneath my body. And then I would go to the exact opposite. I'd be taken hostage by my thoughts, completely caught up in my head, asking myself questions like, what's happening here? How did I get here? And then I would come back to her voice and my surroundings and the sensations in my body. And then the thoughts would come in and hijack my awareness. This is crazy. What am I doing here? What is the meaning of all of this? And then I let myself drift, floating away on one of those thought clouds, to the day just about 6 months prior, that fateful day that I received the text, the breakup text from my boyfriend of 1 year at that time. So not only was he breaking up with me via text, he was uninviting me to our vacation, which we had planned for our 1 year anniversary. Yes, the next thought included profanity. And then I chuckled to myself and I said, this is exactly how I got here. I cracked a smile and a wave of gratitude ran through me, realizing in that moment that had it not been for that text, I would not be lying on the ground in the Incan terraces of Marai, in the sacred valley of Cusco, Peru. So there I am, back in this circle of women, and I'm like, okay, I'm here, be here now, I thought to myself. So I called my energy back in, calling myself back into the present moment, back into the wisdom of the land, the sound of the facilitator's voice, and that feeling of gratitude that I had, I let it move through me, sinking deeper into my bones, into my gut, into the fabric of my being. I surrendered to the subtle sensations moving through me. And then a feeling moved in. I had this sensation that magic was afoot. I smiled again, and that thought, I let it drift by like a cloud in the sky. Again and again, I brought myself back to the vibration that I was feeling in my body, and I sank deeper, deeper into the moment. As the facilitator wrapped up the meditation, she asked us to turn to our left side and place our ear to the earth. She said, be open to the possibility that she, Mama Gaia, has a message for you, something to share with you. Listen with all of your being. I did as instructed, and that's when it hit me. This sensation rushed through my body like an electric current. And just as clear as I am speaking to you now, I heard a voice say, if you can hear this, you need to teach other people to hear this. So I lifted my head off the ground and I kind of looked around like, okay, did somebody say that? Like, ooh, nobody had moved. Nobody was speaking. And so kind of shook my head in disbelief, but I lay my ear back to the earth and I closed my eyes and I tuned in again and I listened with my whole being. And there it was again, a soft but unmistakable voice. And this time the voice said, if you are listening, then please teach other people how to listen. Whoa, right? Like, whoa. So that night I got back to my hotel and I journaled about my experience. And I found myself saying, yeah, okay, I'm listening, but to what? And to who? And how the heck am I supposed to teach people to listen when I don't really understand what I'm supposed to be listening to? Or what am I listening for? Who are you? What is this? What does it all mean? So have you ever had that experience, the aha moment, and you say to yourself, like, whoa, that was so big. Like the universe just hits you upside the head with the clue by four. But in reality, you're totally clueless. Yeah, it was like that. So the rest of the trip was as magical as that day. And I'm happy to be able to cross that one off the bucket list. I hiked Machu Picchu. And that trip, that day at the terraces of Morai, the veil, another veil, had been lifted. I often tell my students, once you've seen beyond the veil, you can't unsee it. And that feeling, that vibration, I couldn't unfeel it. I couldn't unhear that voice. It became this nagging sensation, and that feeling has turned into a calling and ultimately has changed the trajectory of my life. Thus began my focus and journey of the last 3 years, unraveling the mystery, accepting the challenge, and learning how to teach people to listen. So I went back through all of my training over the last 20 years, Ipsalu Tantra, Kriya Yoga, nonviolent and compassionate communication, massage therapy, imago relationship therapy, energy healing. I searched and I studied. I even wrote a book about it. Something to tie that aha moment with all that I had learned in my quest to become a better human. My journey, my search, led me to find one common thread through all of it that helped me understand what it was that she, Mother Earth, wanted me to share. And what I discovered is this: listening, as in how to listen from the heart, how to tune in and turn on to the wisdom within our bodies, how to listen with empathy and not with our stories. Learning to listen ultimately comes down to one thing: connection. Our ability and our capacity to connect. Connect to each other, connect to the rhythms and the vibrations of the planet, of the universe. But more importantly, to get to that level of connection, we need to first connect to ourselves. And I'm not talking about the self who we've been molded to be, but who we are at the core of our being. This body, these sensations, these emotions, our capacity to feel goes beyond to taste, to touch, to hear. To listen means to feel. To be human means to feel, and then we attach meaning to these feelings. The word emotion, I like to break it up and say emotion, energy in motion. If we want to create impactful connections with ourselves, with each other, and with the planet. We must learn to truly feel our feelings, honor our feelings. I believe that feelings are the language of the body and ultimately the language of the heart. Learning to connect and listen to our hearts and our bodies strengthens our ability to connect to our greater purpose and to a power greater than ourselves. You may have heard the saying, the greatest adventure of our lives is also the one of the shortest distance, the journey from the head to the heart. This is where connection begins. And in order for us to listen, to truly listen to our hearts, to hear our own internal wisdom, we must first develop stronger capacity and ability to connect. Now, I mentioned earlier my book, and it's called With Grace and Ease: How to Lead with Your Heart, Develop Emotional Awareness, and Create Meaningful Connections. And this is my deep dive into my research of just how we can create those deep and meaningful connections and learn how to listen. Thank you.